Hi, Gary Zacharias with the Apologist Bookshelf. Normally, I use this time in a podcast to talk about books that I really like and give you some insights into some of their main points. I want to do something different, though. I would like to talk to you about getting more involved in apologetics. So, obviously, people that listen to this podcast already like apologetics, but I don't know how involved everybody is. So, I just jotted down, 15 or 20 things that you might consider doing. They're not in any particular order, and some may appeal to you. Some you may say, no thanks, and that's fine. But I'm just hoping that more people get involved in apologetics one way or another. And I'm not talking about doing something like writing books and doing something with a heavy involvement. So some of these are going to be very easy, very simple, but it's a way to kind of step into the water and see if you like it. Wiggle your toes in the water, and if it feels good, go ahead and jump in. So here are just some things. Getting involved. You're already doing this, and that is reading or listening to some area of apologetics. And this is a golden age of apologetics, for heaven's sakes. There are so many things out there that people can listen to, so many good podcasts, so many good books. Well, you can see it's just, I've already done, I think, 70-some podcasts. So there are a lot of good things out there. And by the way, as I go through this list, if you say, wow, I'd like to know more about this, feel free to email me, gary.zacharias@gmail.com, gary.zacharias@gmail.com, and I'll send you resource lists. I'll type up, I haven't typed this up, this is just handwritten scrawling here, but I'll type up this apologetics, getting involved in apologetics podcast and send that out to you as well. So one way is just to read and listen and be aware of what's out there. Some you'll like, some you won't like, and you'll find areas that interest you in particular. So here's my second point. Find an area you really like and do a little bit of work in that area. So for me, I grew up loving science. So give me something that connects apologetics to science, and I'm good to go. Mike Strauss has a really good book that I've already talked about. Stephen Meyer, and there's so many good people out there that are writing in the area of science and Christianity. Maybe you like history. A lot of good things there. Maybe you're interested in other religious groups and you want to do a comparison or something between, let's say, Jehovah's Witnesses and historical Christianity. So find an area that you enjoy, because otherwise it's going to overwhelm you. There's so much out there. Shelves are filled with apologetics material, and I just don't want you to get overwhelmed like a tsunami coming at you. So find an area that you're comfortable with. Here's a third idea. Consider volunteering at your church, maybe in a Sunday school class, maybe a small group, maybe a kids group. That would be great. Men's Bible study, a woman's study of some kind. Just volunteer. And it doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's just a 5-minute presentation of something you came across. So it doesn't have to be a 30-minute or 45-minute deal where you're really under the gun and under the spotlight. So maybe something small, and you just want to share it for a couple of minutes. Another thing you might do is see if there are other people interested like you are. If somebody comes up afterwards, maybe you've shared with a group, and they say, hey, where'd you get that? Or that's interesting. Or I've got a friend who needs some of this material. Just find some others who are interested. And you don't have to do anything, although it would be nice maybe eventually you could start a group that's just an apologetics group. That's what we did at our church. Just found some other people that would love to proceed with this, and we've ended up now, I think I've lost track, at least 14 years of doing apologetics on a weekly basis, because there are a lot of people that really do enjoy this. And you may not have known that until you talk and you share with them and even ask if anybody's interested, talk to me afterwards. Something else we all need to do, and I do myself, is to have resources available. Plenty of good places on the internet. And again, contact me if you want. I'll give you a lot of good websites, but a lot of good resources on the internet. Books galore, tons of good books out there. Good magazines. I'll tell you one that I really enjoy. It's called World Magazine. They come out weekly with a focus on all sorts of things like science and sports and technology and religious groups and culture, like music that's just come out or a movie or whatever, but it's all from a Christian perspective. And so the whole thing is not necessarily apologetics, but I find something in there every issue that I want to talk about with apologetics group. So it's World Magazine. You might think about subscribing to something like that. If you end up teaching, if you do even a 5-minute presentation, see if you can find somebody that could give you honest feedback. And of course, the key word there is honest. So not somebody that says, oh, that was real nice, but somebody that said, well, I kind of got lost in the middle, or boy, that'd been nice if you had told us ahead of time you had 3 points, or I wasn't sure of that illustration. Could you have explained it differently? So don't be defensive. Ask this person, be honest. I want to know if I'm getting across what I needed to get across. So see if you can give people, find people that could give you some honest feedback. Here's something else, again, pretty obvious, but talk to your church pastor or leaders of the church and see if they're interested in something like this, because you know they have so many things on their plates. They are so busy. They're swamped. And they don't want to take on something new for the most part. They've got plenty to keep themselves occupied. So you might want to suggest to them, hey, if I got involved in apologetics in some way, do you think there's some place in the church that I could serve? And just see what they say. They may be really encouraging, as long as you're willing to put this together, to talk to other people and things like that. So pastors often love the idea, but they just don't have the time and the resources to take something new on. The same thing with talking to church leaders. It might be elders, it might be Sunday school leaders, but get to know them and see if you can help them at all. And if nothing else, be it just a resource for them so they contact you if they have a question. But maybe they open up part of their class or whatever and allow you to come in. Here's something that sounds a little different, but we should be Christians all week long if we're going to get involved in apologetics. And what am I talking about there? I'm talking about worldviews. We tend to compartmentalize, and I've spoken on this to groups before. We go to church on Sunday. We sing our songs. We pray to God. We read the Bible. We share with fellow believers. But then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday comes along. These things come along, and we're busy with our jobs. We're busy with spare time activities, with raising kids, talking to grandkids, whatever it is, and Christianity tends to slide to the back, and we don't want that. We should be looking at things like movies and saying, what's the message? What's the worldview being presented here? What is it saying about who humans are, about what our problem is, how to fix our problem? Those are worldview questions, and Christianity has a set of answers to all of these. And so we can just begin by looking and stepping back a little bit and looking at our whole life, Monday through Saturday, and look at the apologetics angle to this. If we were talking to somebody and they'd just seen a movie and we'd seen it, well, we could just talk about the movie. But what if there's a worldview there that we could begin talking about and showing the problems with that worldview? I know years ago there was a movie called Rio. It's an animated film, and it was a lot of fun. My wife and I saw it, and it's very enjoyable. But guess what the message of the movie is? Trust your heart. Trust your heart. Now think about that for just a minute. That goes opposite to the Christian message. In Jeremiah, it talks about the heart is wicked above all things. So even something like a simple movie, we can often get a Christian discussion going, but we need to be thinking Christianly all week. So let's really focus on that. Okay, a few other things. How about going to a conference, or we could watch it online, or sometimes we can buy DVDs or something that gives us the information that went on at the conference. There are so many good conferences, and they're all over the country. And of course, now I'm speaking when COVID's still going on. A lot of that has been restricted, unfortunately, but you can still get DVDs and just be amazed at these people that come together and share their information. We can give books to other people. How about when a birthday comes up, a graduation of some kind, we give a book out. I mean, we're going to give gifts to each other all the time. So you give gifts to grandkids, you give gifts to friends, to coworkers, whatever it is. You might think about apologetics books. And there are so many good ones that you say, well, wait a minute, I have friends who are not Christians. Okay, there are wonderful books that just present the Christian perspective without beating people over the head. There's an organization called Illustra Media, Illustra, Illustra Media. They put out the best videos, things like the change that a butterfly undergoes. The movie's called Metamorphosis. They've got one on the ocean. They've got several of these wonderful movies that describe the incredible complexity of life. And the hint or the indirect subtle message there is that you don't get that through Darwinian evolution. There's got to be a God. There's got to be a creator. But again, it doesn't hit you over the head. It's filmed well, and it's a wonderful thing that you can give out like candy to people that you know. So that's something to think about. Giving gifts, whether it's a book or DVD or something like that, to other people. You could invite an apologist to come to your church. Are there some out there that would be willing to travel? Sure. We have done not only people on our campus, but we've done Zoom calls and had people talk to members of our church that way, and open it up to the whole county or whatever. And it's been very successful and enjoyable. You might host an apologetics movie night, something like God's Not Dead, or like these movies I was talking to you about, the Metamorphosis and movies like that. So you could just host a movie night, bring out some popcorn, everybody sits back and talk about it later. Talk about no pressure on you. If you want to, a lot of these movies and all will give you questions that you can consider, but you just watch it and share conversations afterwards. How about encouraging somebody who's already an apologist? They've got a website. Send them a note. Tell them how much you appreciate what they've done, because sometimes that can be a lonely business. So encourage an apologist. This is crucial. However you can do it, teach your kids, teach your grandkids. We don't want to lose the next generation. I've seen some horrifying statistics, something like 75%, rough average, 75% of kids after high school quit the church. They walk away from Christianity. Now, some of them may come back. They start a family and they realize, wow, I got to get some morality in these kids. So they may do it for those kinds of reasons, but they will come back. Not all. And we're losing them for really terrible reasons. They'll say, I didn't get good answers. Well, that's a shame, because the answers are there. So there are all sorts of, again, if you don't feel comfortable with it, there are a lot of good books, a lot of good websites that kids and grandkids can go to. All right, so that's something to think about. Here's another thing. If you're involved in Facebook at all, you like to be online, there's an organization called Christian Apologetics Alliance, CAA, Christian Apologetics Alliance. They do some good work, and they knock some ideas back and forth. You might like that a lot. You could start a blog or start a podcast. Good grief, I am living proof that anybody can start a podcast. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to technology. Honestly, I just talked to one of my sons, and he gave me a microphone that he wasn't using. Okay, one problem solved. And he helped me figure out how to get podcasts going. So you can do it. It's not that complicated. I'm using a real simple system here. It's called Audacity. And you just download that. It's free. And you can, well, anyway, so I won't go into the whole details of that. You can email again, gary.zacharias@gmail.com. I'll give you whatever information I can about this. Start a blog. Have people look at your blog. Here's something else you might consider doing. There's an organization called Ratio Christi, RATIOCHRISTI, Ratio Christi. And they are an apologetics group that ministers on college campuses all across the nation. I think there are over 100 chapters right now. You might see if you can get involved with them. If nothing else, praying for them or giving them some money or showing up and just helping them organize the meeting. Or if you really feel brave and you want to talk to the students out there. The college campus is a very underserved part of our society when it comes to Christianity. So Ratio Christi is doing a great job giving people muscular, solid, good reasons to believe Christianity is true in an environment that is often hostile to Christianity. Something else you might think about doing, sponsor some student who's in college who likes apologetics. Give them some money, help them out. Maybe you can support an apologetics ministry itself. They all could use help, either support through physically doing things or financial support. How about learning the basics? Maybe I should have mentioned this earlier, but I told you this is not in any particular order. Learn the basics of apologetics. Stand to Reason has an ambassador's curriculum that you can go through. Really good. Stand to Reason. That's str.org. Our organization here that I started called San Diego County Apologetics Network, SDCAN. SDCAN. Contact me. We have a certificate program that you just read some material, or you listen, or you watch some video recordings and answer some questions. You get a really nice certificate, and you'll learn the foundational issues of apologetics. A lot of good things. I'll be glad to send you a little flyer on this or whatever. So I'm pushing a lot of material at you here, and I know it's probably making your head spin. How about this? We'll end with this. The number one thing you can do, what would that be? Pray. Pray about you getting involved. Pray about opportunities that may come to you, or opportunities for you to seek out. But prayer is vital, no matter what we do as Christians. Okay, well, I gave you a lot to think about. Please, if you'd like, send me a note. I'll type this information up, get it out to you as a challenge. And anything I can do to help, give you a resource list, help you with podcasting. Again, my skills are about as minimal as they get, but I'll be glad to help you if I can. All right, well, thanks for listening.